What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys enjoy the Around the League with Ash. Another one. Here we go. Second episode of this, guys. I hope you guys do enjoy. I got a couple of little spicy little things really to, spice up the show a little bit here. But obviously, a couple of big topics around the league at the moment. I've only got two to touch on right now, but I will throw to you guys. Obviously, if you got any topics you want to talk about in that, I want to make sure I throw to you guys and we can bounce off each other. Before we get into Punter's Paradise, so my tips for the weekend, my thoughts over every game, and then a little bit of value to get into your weekend overall. But yeah, it's going to be absolutely incredible. I cannot wait to get through the show. So appreciate all the people coming into the chat right now. Jazzy, Michael, thank you so much for bro coming through. Foldy, rather just ignore Fifita after the number. He's not, yeah. We're going to talk about Fifita very shortly, man. We're going to talk about Fifita very shortly. So yeah, just thought I'll let everyone come into the chat already and then we'll get through the news for this week. But hopefully you guys have been enjoying the week so far. I have also just recorded my reaction to, Webby on SENZ. If you haven't got to check out SENZ, guys, go check them out on YouTube or, Spotify and that. They're a radio station, sports radio and that. But I also do a lot of great content and that. Obviously, we had Semi Hewitt on our channel recently. He was the one that conducted this interview here, and it was really, really good to see. So I will be editing that, chucking that live, maybe later on tonight, or even, tomorrow afternoon after work and stuff like that. So keep an eye around the channel. But Webby touched on a lot of good things, and I took that definitely very positively just to hear from our coach and really, his thoughts overall. And he definitely acknowledged a lot of things that we all understand and that. And he's quite good at that. So obviously it's more so we just want to see it happen now. But I think there was a couple of key points that I really keyed on to, especially with that chat. So but I appreciate every single one of you guys that continue to come through. Obviously, this is a new show. Around the League with Ash is still not the title. Maybe I'm not going to be running with. Maybe I do. Who knows? But if you got any other ideas, guys, if any creative ideas, chuck them out there as well. Mel, thank you so much for coming through. Evening. It's so good to see ya. So good to see ya. But we may as well jump into our first topic this week. And that is obviously the massive, massive topic that's sweeping the league currently right now. And that is obviously David Fifita. Is he on the move? Is he moving away from the Gold Coast Titans to the Penrith Panthers, the Sydney Roosters? Even the Dragons have thrown their hat in the ring. And obviously we all know, the Raiders have tried it earlier on and that. But all these sort of talks around, the Titans and the way they do their contracts and stuff, like Tino's contract clauses always come out through the media. Dave Fifita's contract clauses always come out in the media. It's probably not the best sign overall for the Gold Coast Titans overall is like, when you sign these boys, and I know a lot of it is to lure these guys to your club, you get put stipulations in their contracts and stuff like that. Things like, if the coach leaves, you can leave, stuff like that. But honestly, if you're going to jump to a team to win a premiership, you probably, and I'm sorry if there's any Gold Coast Titans fans out there right now, but it's probably not the Gold Coast Titans right now. If you wanted to build something with Gold Coast Titans, I think you become more of a legend that way, in my opinion. But if you want to get, the remembered, because there's moments where you try that and completely fall off. Dave Fifita could try his hardest to win a premiership, never happen, and then people may forget about Dave Fifita in the future. Or you can win a premiership now and be put up there as one of the greats, especially with the second row. And his potential is always there, but obviously all the big news currently right now is the first one you saw, the first hat that got put out in the ring was the Penrith Panthers. And when you first saw that, you're just like, No way, no way. Good to see you, 40. Yeah, 100%. He'd be dumb to not to go to Penrith. I do believe that. Out of all the clubs you can throw up here, I would choose that Penrith job. If that was me, if I had the potential of him, 850K to go to Penrith Panthers, I think that's meant, like, you're almost at $1 million to play for the best team in a competition right now. Yeah, I'd eat that up all day. And, I think there's many ways you can view this. Obviously, you can view this as, if you're a Gold Coast Titans fan, obviously, as I said before, this is very disappointing to see your club go through this again. It sucks that your club gets through the media, and it seems to be the similar times every year. And I feel like it does come down to like the player managers at the moment, the way they throw around, their names and of their clients, and really try to bait clubs into really saying that, hey, he's willing to go if you really want him there. Like, they do it multiple times just to see what they have out there. So that sucks. And also for the Gold Coast Titans, you lose someone of David Fifita's ilk, even though I've seen a lot of comments saying that he's overrated or he doesn't work hard enough and all that sort of stuff. Like, let's be honest, like, the Gold Coast Titans don't really have a system that push players to do that to their fullest extent. And even out of then, I think he's been one of your premier players for the last couple of years or so. And people do forget he won Daly and back rower last year. So he is one of the premier back rowers in the competition right now. So that would be a massive loss for the Gold Coast Titans, especially, Tino off with injury right now. With all this talk around the club, I don't think there's a better person really to have at your club at the moment other than, like, having Desi Hasler there. At least he's got experience to really work around these sort of talks and stuff. But a lot of the news is he's going to make a decision before the game coming up this week and that. So, and obviously making a trip to Sydney is a big, big deal. He could obviously do it over phone call and all that, but to meet with, like, these big players, like the big one obviously is the Roosters as well. Like, for for him to meet with the Roosters and just hearing the way the Roosters show off their club and the real, like, obviously they're owned by Politis and that, like, yeah, it's pretty hard to not, go that way as well. Obviously the Cheese, he's a one that we know recently. He said that, I'm pretty sure there was a thing that came out and said he was nearly signed, sealed, delivered to the Dolphins, I think, from memory or something like that. And then, he saw the Roosters and the way that he got spoke about with the Roosters and, the players spoke about the Roosters. He's like, I kind of want to die for that jersey. You know what I mean? That's crazy to go from a Melbourne system like that to the Roosters and to be swayed like that. Like, I feel like that shows a lot of things, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Dave Fifita gets swayed a little bit there. But also when Penrith come calling, like, that's so hard to not go that way. So the other view you could obviously have, if you're a fan of rugby league, like you're a fan of any other team in the competition, you're just going, Penrith, get this guy out of everyone they can get on the market. Like, they get Dave Fifita. Like, I feel like they can try to cover Fish. I don't think they can fully cover Fish in the middle with the players that they got there. I think Liam Henry has the potential to be the next guy to maybe step up there. Lindsay Smith, for me, is a bit so-so. I'm still out there on him. Like, I think he's a good player. I just don't think he's, like, a great player. I think there's moments in the game he falls off, like defensive reads sometimes and stuff like that. We've seen it in the grand final a couple of times there. Obviously, playing a little bit, I think it was playing out of position for a moment there, or even then trying to cover on the outside. Just couldn't really do that too well. But, Dave Fifita to put on the left side and then have Liam Martin on the right side, like, Cleary could choose to go both sides with two of, like, the most damaging back rowers in the competition. Like, Liam Martin's a high work rate sort of back rower, but he does a lot of his best work through defense and just the hard parts of the game. Dave Fifita is a lot of what Viliami Kikau was, but also I think the Penrith Panthers can get that best out of him and get the lazy tag off him, which I think, for me, it's just an easy tag to slap on a player like this. I think the Gold Coast Titans just don't utilize Dave Fifita that well in moments. And, he got unlocked last year for the most of it next to Kieran Foran. Can you imagine him with, like, Nathan Cleary's and that of the world, playing him, like, giving him the ball and getting him in really good positions? Like, he's going to be very, very hard to stop. And really, it's coming down to now is, like, does it weigh up, the people that are leaving Penrith and the people that are coming in, like Dave Fifita coming in. You lose Luai, obviously Taruva, Fisher Harris, they're big, big losses. I don't think Fifita will uphold that. But I think, like, Fifita will grow into an incredible player for them and become a massive strike weapon for them. That they'll end up growing a couple other pieces that end up kind of filling the voids that they have there. Obviously, with Taruva, they got, like, the McLean boys and stuff like that, that are yet to taste first grade. They got a ton of talent. So that junior development system is just like amazing. So they can put a guy like this in a system, like put him in that position, and the rest of the team flourishes because that junior development is just on a different level too. So if you're a fan of the competition, you're just like, this is a scary day. That the Penrith Panthers have all this money and can chase people like Dave Fifita. You know, maybe I'll do a little bit of a video. Who else is on the market for for the Penrith Panthers? You know, to replace a couple of guys as well, because I'm sure that, you know, with all these players leaving, I know they've given Tungo an upgrade to his contract and stuff like that, but I still think they may have money around in the cap. Who else can they really bait in with Dave Fifita? Like, that's the big thing, is like, is this the end if they do get Dave Fifita? If you're a Penrith Panthers fan, I think this is incredible overall. Let's look at it the other way too. What if the Sydney Roosters come through and like steal him off the Penrith Panthers here? And what does this mean for Sydney Roosters, especially with the year that the Sydney Roosters have? I've been really holding on to a little bit of a video that about the Sydney Roosters. I just want to see where they're at this year. Like, they're on form right now. They're on fire. We'll touch on them a little bit later on too. But like, they've got a year this year that has a storyline now, because they got a lot of players that are leaving, a lot of experienced players that are leaving that club, and a lot of players that look like seemingly they're more so towards the end of their career than they are, you know, towards the start of their career overall. You probably understand who I'm talking about really there overall. But I say, like, you know, if Hardgrave's leaving, you got the Suoli'i, you got Joey Manu. You know, I think Daniel Tupou wouldn't be too far off soon. Like, yeah, Angus Crichton, whether he gets another contract, they're starting to look at maybe giving him another contract now after the way he's playing. He's in incredible form right now. But if Dave Fifita comes on the market, they get Dave Fifita, do they give Angus Crichton the contract? And there's also been a couple of little rumors, like, if they don't go for Angus Crichton, does maybe the Penrith Panthers go for Angus Crichton as well? And I think Angus Crichton certainly fits the Penrith Panthers if he goes that way. But there's also rumors, obviously, Angus Crichton going to Union as well. So there's a lot of things to throw up there with Sydney Roosters. But they've got a storyline this year of maybe getting to the big dance and winning it all. Obviously, we want to as the Warriors fans and all that, and maybe Broncos fans out there and Penrith fans out there and all that sort of stuff. But the Roosters have a storyline now of, like, a lot of players leaving the club. Maybe they want to repay them. There's a lot of turnover now. You got Spencer Linus and Terrell May really on the come up. They bought Spencer Linus to take over that Warrior Hargraves role. They got Terrell May that's on up and coming. You got White that's up and coming as well. You got like a ton of junior talent too that they've got with the Va'a boys and stuff like that. So they've definitely got a storyline if they carry them out for a year when they get to the finals time. Like, if they win it all, like, think about it like it's the last years for Hargraves and stuff like that. So they got a really nice story there. But if they'll get to Dave Fifita next year, the Roosters just go back to being that club again. You know what I mean? Like, they lose all that talent before. They pick up Dave Fifita. It just goes back to the same old Roosters. You know what I mean? The Roosters always pick out the best boys on the market and that. There's a lot of talk with the Roosters at the moment with, like, Dane Gagai and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's definitely a really, really big thing to happen in rugby league. And my last little point I want to give out to you guys too is a Maroons fan. And obviously we're coming up to Origin very shortly and all that. And I'm really excited to be around the channel coming up to Origin. So get excited for the channel too. Because I know there's a couple of Blues fans in here, but I know there's also Maroons fans as well. And let's get excited because it's going to be amazing. But for the Maroons, for the Queensland Maroons, Dave Fifita going to the Roosters, for me, more so the Penrith Panthers. If he learns that Penrith Panthers system and really gets embedded with the little, you know, areas of his game and stuff like that, I think it just, like, it can create the best Dave Fifita that we've seen. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen the potential at the Broncos and he got shipped off to the Titans and the Titans were trying to make him into, like, you know, the player he is. And to be fair, like, I think he's been incredible. Like, he won Dally M back row of the year last year with Liam Martin. So it's hard to say he isn't, like, one of the better back rows in competition right now. But he could go down as someone really, really special if he learns the little parts of his game and goes to the Penrith Panthers and becomes something like of a legend that way. You know what I mean? So as a Maroons fan, yeah, it would be really, really cool to see, because can you just imagine Dave Fifita and Jeremiah Nanai, both edges there. Dave Fifita being a Panther, learning all the little things, like, he'd be very, very damaging. Jazzy, I see you there in the chat. Up the Blues, up the Blues. But back over to you guys in the chat. Obviously, Mel, how much money do the Panthers actually have? Well, far out. A ton. From all the rumors that Fisher Harris was actually on a decent contract there. that we've actually got him for unders was 650 from all the rumors that came out, 675. So I'm not too sure. Obviously, you don't know the full proper number of the contracts because they're not allowed to really put out the full number of the contract out there, but there's rumors out there. So you kind of get like a ballpark number, I guess. And you obviously losing players like Jerome Luai and, Taruvas, stuff like that, they'll free up a little bit of cash as well. So they've definitely got cash to spend. I wouldn't say that 850 a year, maybe it'll fill up a decent chunk of it because obviously they've got Cleary on a mill. I think Tungo's like up to 800K now, isn't he? I think Yo would be on a decent amount of money. So there's definitely money they still got packed up in areas too, but I think they still have a little bit of cash to spend to really chase some stars. Maybe not. Maybe they're just going to stick with Dave Fifita and then build through their junior base is what they've been good for. You know what I mean? So that's massive there. 40, only stink partners is moving from Goldie to West City. Obviously, yeah, the Gold Coast, man. I think that's a big thing with the Goldie. Like, it sucks that a team hasn't come out and been so successful out of Goldie. I think the Goldie had one really nice season. I think it was like the early 2000, like it was the 2007, 2008 season. I'm from memory. They had like Presto, they had Princey. You remember those early years of the Gold Coast Titans? I think they made the preliminary final at that stage, and then maybe remember a couple of years back the Patrick Herbert when they made the finals. That one, I love Paddy Herbert too. I loved him at the Warriors. I want to keep him there, but then again, he's always going to be known for that one moment too. So they've had a couple of years, but also for the majority of it, they haven't really made it work, and a lot of Gold Coast teams and that really haven't made it work. And a lot of the argument is due to being such a beautiful place, like being the tourist destination. There's so much to do there. Players get caught up in that a little bit. So, to move that to the Western Sydney. I'm sure he's going to be living lavish in Western Sydney, though. I'm sure they'll put him in a really nice spot. And you'll see him probably at the 27 podcast studios or something like that. They'll make him live real nice with two of us there and all those boys down there. Jazzy, with big dollars, good teammates. I don't think he'd be doing it tough out there, bro. Nah, no way. Phil Plug, thank you so much for coming through, my man. I think although they are great, a winger and a front rower are replaceable, especially Taruva. The only hard part is Luai because that changed how they play, really. Yeah, there's definitely talk on that, man. When you replace someone like a Jerome Luai, and a lot of what I think is, combination is what I keep talking about when I talk about the Warriors this year, and that, and what you got to think of is I think this is what I'm more positive about the Warriors as an organization. I think we all are, because we can kind of see very similar things that we are trying to keep like some player bases all playing together, build combinations and bring them all up together, and then get them as Warriors. Very similar to what Panthers have been doing. Luai and Leota and Crichton and Toto and all those boys have played together through the juniors. Even like Cleary and Luai played together for a lot of their time there. So they've built that combination over all their junior grades, so they know how to play with each other. I think that's a big key that they're going to lose out on. But they've got a couple of really nice pieces down there at Penrith that they can fill in that spot. Brad Schneider's one of them that you've seen play half for a little bit. I rate Schneider. I think he's a really decent player. I think he's still yet to hit his straps at Penrith, but he's shown some ability there. Jack Cole's the big one that they're all talking about down at Penrith. He's really talented. Number 6 they got coming through the grade right now. And then you also got to think of they got Dane Laurie there. That's been they snapped up from the Tigers, and he has a ton of potential as well, as we've seen in past years of Dane Laurie. So they definitely can replace these guys, but it's really, we got to see it on paper as well. So really excited for that. Mel, Queensland, baby. Good to see you there, Mel. Yeah, up the Maroons, baby. Up the Maroons. Talk here in NZ about SJ and Dallin Watene-Zelezniak leaving next season. Dallin going to Super League, apparently. Yeah, interesting. I haven't heard too much on that. But, for Shawnee, it does feel like that if this was his last year, that's really sucks. But I feel like his body is kind of maybe... I don't want to say it too early too, but maybe his body is taking a hit. Like we've seen this year, he's barely training with the squad at the moment. And I feel like sometimes that is to our detriment. So we might touch on that in another little show later on, but I'll keep an eye out on that for sure. El Matador 11, good to see you, my bro. To be fair, Penrith make the most out of average players look good. Tom Jenkins is a good example of that. Yeah, I think they've developed Tom Jenkins, so he looked incredible in Cup and that. When he got to the top grade, looked good. I think the Knights just when they go to a different system, it's really, really tough because they don't get to show off their full potential. Maybe there's a lot of things that go into that. Like Tom Jenkins got brought into a system of, they've already got Greggy Marju and Braden Best on that left side. That's their best attacking side, especially with KP. So he's not going to show off his full ability there. On the other side, they could just put a stopgap sort of winger there, like a Nari Chawala is incredible. I love Anari, but it does. Yeah, you're right. The Penrith system just makes some good players look amazing. You know what I mean? That's just really what it is. We've seen it with Sean O'Sullivan. We've seen it multiple times with the Penrith Panthers. That half that they have covering there usually looks like a superstar, then moves on to a different side and doesn't look as great. Shawnee had a good start to the season last season, but ever since then, he kind of hasn't got it together. He's looking back to what we had at the Warriors, you know what I mean? So, good eye on that, bro. Field plug, keep an eye out on a junior. Yeah, bro. He's a freak. He plays primary fullback, but I could see him play 5'8". He's been a Penrith's best young player for it, and also a Queenslander, bro. He's a freak. He's an absolute freak. I've been definitely keeping a close eye on him. Maybe we'll talk into a little bit later on too, on another show or whatever, on all the little juniors that I'm really, really excited for the future. I know there's a big vibe in rugby league right now of everyone wanting getting on these juniors really early and being the guy to say I'm the guy that called that guy out and all that. And Rugby League Guru is great for it. And he's amazing to really spot those guys too. But also I kind of feel stink sometimes doing it to where you're going to overhype a kid coming into grade. And if they don't get to the full potential, maybe a lot of people come down hard on them and they expect them to be the Nathan Clearys of the world when they forget Nathan took a little bit of time to get into the league. And you know what I mean? But definitely he's got a ton of potential. And if he hits his potential, he's going to be a superstar. And I wouldn't be surprised that maybe if they do a switch of could you ever see Dylan Edwards play in the 6 role? You know what I mean? And have him at a fullback, or maybe Longy will play in the fullback role. But yeah, there's multiple ways they could run into the future. Mel read it today. Yeah, I think SJ has given us enough. He's young compared to me, but getting on as a league player, yeah, that's a big thing. When you start talking about how much money these boys make and all that, I love Dave Fifita right now looking at $850 contract. He's making $1 million in that, but people also got to think most of these guys' careers end at 30s and stuff like that. They still got most of their life to live out. You know what I mean? If you really think of the spectrum of life in general, where you get other professions that you're on $1 million or, $100,000 a year every year, all the way up to your 60. You know what I mean? It kind of balances out that way. But it really depends on what these boys do after footy and stuff like that. So, but for SJ, I'm sure there's going to be a halves coaching job or something out there for him because he's well too good to lose, as in a head, a footy head. Around the club. We got Stacey Jones around the club. We need another one of our greatest players of all time, Stacey, Sean Johnson. So, lastly, finishing up on that. I'm really, really excited. If he does go to Penrith, I'm excited to see it as a fan of just the game and just seeing what the Penrith Panthers can get out of him because we can see the potential of it. But man, for any other team in the competition, I am scared as. But the next thing I do want to touch on, guys, is obviously a big talking point around the league at the moment, and that is the bunker. And the bunker caving in for me. You know what I mean? I really want to talk to you guys and see what your thoughts around the bunker at the moment and where your thoughts are at right now. Why's our TV? Yeah, Levon, good to see you in the chat, my bro. Big up everyone in the chat. Hit the likes and love it, my bro. Love it. Yeah, make sure, guys, if you enjoy, please like and subscribe. It would really help the channel and all that, and keep an eye out around the channel. I have done my reaction video. I'm just about to edit it and all that. I did it before this stream here, and I'll edit it and I'll get it up maybe tonight or tomorrow afternoon. So keep an eye out around the channel. The SEN interview with Andrew Webster. But also, if you want to go see it early, guys, and have a sort of view on it before you get to see my take on it too, go check it out, guys, and like and subscribe, and follow the boys on SEN and Instagram and YouTube and Spotify. Those guys are incredible. But let's get on to yeah, I knew I'd surprise you there, Levon, bro. Oh no, not your quality, bro. Your quality is incredible. Don't worry about that. But yeah, let's talk about the bunker, guys. And I want to see what your overarching view is on the bunker, because I think at the moment there's a lot of talk around it. Like, obviously on the weekend we had the big call of the no penalty try call and all that. For me, my big take on that was, for me, if that wasn't get called a penalty try, like, it's okay for me as long as he gets sin bin because it's a professional foul. That's where it kind of fell apart for me. Like, it's like the referee, there was no communication whether it was a professional foul to the other referee to get him sin bin. Maybe the other referee held the power to do that too, but that was a very disappointing call. There was multiple calls over the weekend and just throughout the whole year and throughout the bunker's inception of, we wanted something that is so 100%, we're going to get every call right and all that, but it just doesn't come off, which is really, really unfortunate. But obviously with the bunker, yeah, it's just, they had the Titans call on the weekend that they called a strip, but it was just like, it was a knockout, which shouldn't have been called like that. But there's even moments where it just feels like the bunker intervenes where it's not supposed to intervene. We do remember through the, was it the Manly Seagulls game where Tohu dropped his lollies and it didn't feel like the referee called it until the boys really, I think they made the first pass of that next set, getting ready to get the field goal or whatever, or even just like Tohu play the ball. And the referee, it just seems like it took forever, and then the referee called it and it was like, oh yeah, knock on there. And it was like, the bunker's not supposed to do that. But it's a lot of confusion with the bunker. And I think the best thing that the best view I could give on the bunker and that is, I watched this guy on YouTube, right? And he's a EPL content creator, Rory Jennings. And, he's got a lot of controversial calls and stuff like that. But the reason why I love him is he's so good at telling a story. He's so articulate and all that sort of stuff. And the way he views the game of soccer is so interesting. And I love it. It's more of like, it's like a story to him. Like, he loves history. He runs for the history of soccer. He puts things together and he goes like, at this time, Everton beat Arsenal and that's what will win, Liverpool the league and, all that sort of stuff. He's a very much a storyline type of guy, but he has a really cool view because soccer, if you know about it, overall, like every league in the world is actually really struggling with their video replay systems and like consistency over that. And VAR in soccer is a big thing at the moment. Like there's a lot of people that are with it and against it. You know what I mean? And he has a really cool view of, he misses the days that, where it wasn't that the referees had accountability. They had the pressure of it, but that's what also creates diamonds. You know what I mean? The referees out there become better because they have to make the calls and they learn from the calls later on, what they see and what they can't see. You know what I mean? And, but it also comes down to like, that becomes a storyline in the game. You know what I mean? Like a referee missing a call, we can go bash him on the weekend and all that. But like, if you're thinking about it, like if it's a guy that's not a video ref and that, like it happens, it is what it is. It ends up being the storyline for the end of the season and everything got it intertwines with itself. And then think of yourself at a football game. And I know this big, mainly of, going to the Gold Coast Titans game, was it last year, where every time the bunker went up, we got no comms on when the bunker, what they were thinking or what was really happening. So everyone was confused. So people would think that we scored a try and then like everyone's celebrating and that. And then we're just dead silent of like, what's really happening here? What's happening right now? And they got taken off us. And then we lost that, like, that celebration of like scoring a try and stuff like that. Soccer's dealing with the same thing. And, when they're scoring goals and they're checking the goals, the fans at the stadium jump up, celebrating that. And then they're just like, oh, wait a minute. Like, and you lose that time with your team of like, yeah, we're building a momentum. We're celebrating. Everything's happy. And then it all goes flat. And I think that's a big thing we're losing in rugby league right now is, what make rugby league so special was, like soccer, is a sport that is free flowing. It doesn't really stop, like, unless you really want to make it stop with tactics and kicking out and stuff like that. But it's a free flowing game. It's not like the NFL that is stop start and every coach comes through, they write up their plays, bang, bang, run it here, run it there. Like, the coach gets to stand with the boys before the game, tell them where they want to sit, but it's all up to the players on the football field. And it's a free play the whole time and back and forth. You play both sides of attack and defense and that. Soccer's the same thing. You bounce the ball around between all players and that. It doesn't stop. Like it's a continuous game. And then we have moments like this with a video referee and it feels like it just stagnates the game. It stops the game. It takes a little bit of like the fatigue sometimes out of the game as well as like a lot of other things you can take out of it. And for me, I rather the whole thing of like not video taking over in majority of the instances. Like for me, when it came to Captain's Challenge back in the day, I think the under-20 started the Captain's Challenge. And I think for the majority of it, it only came from try and scoring situations. And I thought that was the only way it was going to be implemented in rugby league right now. and it never got implemented that way. It's now in general play as well, and I feel like that's been one of the worst things too as well. Even though players get more success over it, I feel like over time, like, referees become more reliant on the players to call a captain's challenge, so they make the call one way or the other and just go like, make the challenge, bro, like, go see it upstairs, instead of just making the call and getting on with it. Like, I understand that as Warriors fans sometimes, and like, anyone else that's not Warriors fans, you guys understand, like, sometimes we get the rough end of the stick, you know what I mean? And even with the referee that doesn't have a video referee, it feels like sometimes we still get the rough end of the stick. But I just would have rathered it for the referees to build themselves, build their character, become better at the game. I don't think they need things to rely upon. I feels like the referees are going out there with the whistle that has training wheels on. You know what I mean? Like, you're riding your bike with training wheels on. And if you continue riding with your training wheels on, you're going to think you're a mad rider until you take them off and you understand how tough it really is. You know what I mean? And when you have that safety blanket under you, you're confident, but you know what I mean? Like, you got that safety blanket behind you. But if you go out there and you got just two wheels, like, it's all onto you. You know what I mean? The only way you get better is if you fall off your bike and you learn not to do that next time. Same thing with refereeing. I feel like that's why the standard of refereeing is kind of going away a little bit, is more so the referees are coming up there. They got a lot of things to deal with, and so many rules that are coming up right now. And then on the back of that, they've got the bunker and all that to rely on. And I just miss the old days of a referee just being the adjudicator in the situation, just allow the boys to play football, but also, like, if something's happening a bit too much in the game, then call the penalty. Like, I miss those days. And I feel like the bunker's taken the effect of that as well. Like, we start to dissect the game a little bit too much and not understand that there's an entertainment part to the game as well. And I think a lot of people, when they go to the game, they want to have that moment to celebrate with their team when something goes over. And it's just like, human error is a thing, and we're not going to get it right 100% of the time. So yeah, it's overall, it needs to be looked into. Whatever they can do now, it's already been implemented. I don't see the rugby league taking away from it because they've put too much money into it. But if they're going to do it, like, you got to really get the people in there to make the right decisions. And honestly, I kind of go back to as well, not to continue hyping on it, but the players, if they have a bad performance, like, the amount of accountability that gets thrown on the players is crazy throughout the league. I feel like the referees that are on the field right now, they get bashed with a ton of that, accountability as well. The people in the bunker, unless you sort of try to get deep and find their name, overall, a lot of people just don't even bother to even know their name. They know that, like, half the time they're going to get it wrong and that. But Graham Annesley, instead of coming out and saying something, like, really come out there and just stand people down and say, like, you're not doing it right. Something's wrong there. And just understand, like, that we're all frustrated. We all want to see the better part of the game. It's not because of we're ref bashing or anything like that. A lot of it is we just want to see the better standard of the game. It's the same with players. Like, if they're not playing to their standard, a lot of people here, like, a lot of people are arguing, the standard of a lot of our players, you know what I mean? And, dropping players and stuff like that. It's the same thing with referees. It's the same thing everywhere. If they got the safety blanket under them, they're going to continue making the wrong calls, and they're just not going to have that. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, overall, like, that's really where I stand on the bunker. Like, I would prefer rugby league with 3 referees. That means the touchies will actually get to do something. That's another thing, part of the game too. The touchies are pretty much just flag raisers at the moment. Back in the day, it used to be a thing of, like, the main referee in the middle is really good for, like, getting boys back on side and all that. But the line judges are really good for also, like, catching forward passes and touching on those and calling them. It just feels like now there's multiple ones that happens in front of touch judges and they don't say anything. And you get a lot of frustration from players. They turn to touch judges and going, what's going on? And again, I go back to is, like, if we took away the bunker and that, they're going to have accountability to do their job, or they're going to have to do that. You know what I mean? And they won't go that way. 100% they won't. But I do feel like the standard of refereeing is mainly because they got the safety blanket under them. That is the bunker. And then the bunker gets it wrong, and it just makes the whole competition look in shambles. But again, we're not the only competition that deals with this. Soccer deals with this. I know basketball at times deal with it. NFL deals with it. I think the way NFL and basketball deal with it is maybe a little touch better because there's a lot more of a they even have another referee in the commentary box or whatever to really explain the calls a little bit better than what the referee goes on and say, this, and this. I think overall, like, it would be good to see maybe a referee in a commentary team and really telling the commentary team what the referees are seeing. You know what I mean? I think that helps a little bit, because I don't think the commentary team helps it as well. Like, having Vossi and Blocker call out like everything left, right, and center doesn't really help it as well either. So there's a lot of things into play here, but my whole thing on the bunker, I think we've thrown a ton of money into something that we not like. Human error is always going to be a problem, and we can never get everything 100% right. But if you're going to do it and you're going to go out there to say that we're going to try to get 99 or 98 or 90% of it right, try to get 90% of it right. And if they don't, like, hold people accountable for it. That's the biggest thing for me overall. All right, over to you guys in the chat overall. Tahi, yeah, you're right there, bro. Yeah, 100%. Jacko here, given what she has done to use in the bunker, don't expect any 50-50 calls to go on our way. Obviously talking about the referee coming up this weekend. Jazzy, yeah, I'd never expect to win many 50-50s or get the rubber or green, yeah, as Warriors fans, sometimes it just happens that way. I don't think there are any Kiwi refs in a game nowadays, call me wrong, but need some more diversity, some Poms, Polynesians, anything else. Yeah, I think Paranara was the last one. I don't think he's reffing anymore, so that was pretty unfortunate. But even then, I felt like, Henry Paranara was also pretty bad against the Warriors at times. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it just happens. Like, when you look at rugby league in general, and I don't want to seem like a salty Warriors fan as well, and also a salty Queensland fan as well, but rugby league was, at the competition was born in New South Wales Rugby League. That's why you hear a lot of the media talk about New South Wales clubs. That's why you hear a lot of media talking about just strictly that. I feel like, not to say the referees are part of that too, but like, it does also feel like a lot of the Sydney clubs get a lot of the rubs, but it just is what it is. Mel, I think the Wires do get the rough ride, if I'm being honest, although I never like to blame the referee. Nah. And honestly, what makes us a better club in the future is not being the team to blame referees. I know it's hard to, when a lot of the times it is very blatant against us at times, and like, I understand that, but what would make us a better club as well is just understanding that, we got to be better of a squad to overcome these sort of issues. You know what I mean? We had multiple other opportunities in that game other than that Dallin penalty try to win the game, and we didn't do it. And I don't think there's any Warriors fans that have been out there in our chat at all that actually has blamed this overall. So I love that, see that as a Warriors fan base overall. But, this would have definitely helped us, but it is what it is. It really is what it is. The boys needed to be better on the day, and they weren't. It just would be nice as a rugby league as a product to get better in these areas. And, as I touched on before, like, it sometimes when you listen to, I think James Graham had Harrigan on his podcast, and I think he had the best view on refereeing, to where he had a story, right, where I think it was Alfie Langer, and he goes, I knew Alfie used to test me all the time, so instead of just calling the penalty straight away, which I felt like the referee on the weekend with the Warriors Knights game, it felt like he was trigger happy very early on. You got to understand, there is, like, as humans too, like, we got to let us play it out, let us like figure it teams out in that. But Harrigan has a really cool story where I think Alfie was not getting back in 10 for a couple of tackles in a row, and he turns to him while he's running back, and I think it was coming for a scrum or something. And Harrigan turns to Alfie and said, "Hey, Alf, did you not have a good preseason or something? You're a bit unfit." And Alf's like, "What do you mean, mate?" And he goes, "Well, you're not making back 10, mate. If you don't do it again, like, I'm going to pen you." You know what I mean? And I feel like that's a good way to referee, just to tell him, listen, like, you're going to continue to do it. I'm going to pull you up on it. But, sometimes, yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, when you over ref the game, that's when the game feels stagnant. And a lot of times on the weekend, it frustrated the hell out of me. Even if you're a Knights fan, like, I felt like there was moments in that game, it was like a couple of calls for us, a couple of calls for them, and it just felt like the game couldn't flow. And I know it was wet weather footy or stop-start, but like, just allow the game to flow. Like, when you come to Origin and stuff, the game flows better because they allow the boys to sort it out in the field. The referee should be just the guy that's just like, sort it out in the field. You know what I mean? That's my thoughts overall. Daniel Berry, thank you so much, bro. Welcome. Morning. Gilda, Ash, Richard, what's going on? Sack the ones in the bunker who make the wrong call. Honestly, just sit them down and like, maybe say to them, like, listen, like, these are the areas you need to fix up on, and give them homework, go to the week. But like, it just feels like it's a consistent thing these days, and maybe there's something they need to figure out in there. I'm probably not smart enough to do so. For me, I'll just abolish the whole thing, but they put a lot of money and time into it, and I don't think they'll ever do that. But as I said, like, me that guy on YouTube, Rory Jennings, with the EPL and that, like, I feel like referees, not the video referee, but the referees on the field become a story in the game. And when we start having video ref over the top of them, you take away that part of the game as well. So you just got more pieces to that. And, it takes away from the result. Like, I miss the old days where maybe something didn't go the way or whatever, and you just tell your friends on the weekend, like, yeah, this cunt, he missed this call. You know what I mean? Like, that sort of stuff. Sorry I said that, but you know what I mean? Like, you go to the weekend, that's just a thing to say. Like, now it's just, there's so much officiating. You're just like, bro, like, the referees suck. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's just added, you lost that part of the game. Jazzy, hard to sack them, bro, when they're hardly handling aspiring. Yeah, there's no other referees really out there. And that's the other thing too. It's really hard to really comment on the referees as well. As like, it's not really a job that people want to do. But the other way really to fix that, honestly, overall, is to really pay the referees. I don't know what they get paid now, but pay them some really good money to do it. And I'm sure people will be lining up left, right, and center. And then from there, you got to pick out the right ones, because a lot of people will just be doing it for the money too. So, you know what I mean? Like, there's ways you can really maybe get people into referee and that. But also, yeah, I think we need to stand by the referees as well, and just like also tell them, like, you need to get better, but like, not bash them like personally. I don't think too many people do that. And there's like a loud minority that do that. Those people we kind of don't really want in the game. Good to see you, Nanad. Good to see you in the chat, my man. And yeah, Henry Paranat. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I end up paying as the Warriors. I'm pretty sure, like, I remember back in the day, man, like in times, like I'm sure he was one of the hardest ones on us. Like, I don't know if I'm remembering it wrong, but yeah, I just remember from times he was. I'm pretty sure he was the one that ended up giving us the dud call against Parramatta a couple of years back with the Roger forward pass. Remember the Roger flick pass? I think that they called forward and all that. Anyway. That is what it is. Going back to the old days there. Not old days, but you know what I mean. Tahi, agree with that, bro? Yeah, good to see you, man. Yep. 40. They need a specialist bunker refs, and that only do the job. Rotating referees every weekend becomes too much inconsistency. Yeah, I kind of do agree with that. Maybe have someone out there that has a general knowledge and just stick with their every game of the week. It's like, I'm pretty sure the whole thing of the bunker was they do it from a different place. They just get to sit there and they get all the view of the game and that. It's not like a video referee that's at the game, if that makes sense. So there's a possibility they could do that, you know what I mean? And not just keep rotating them, just pay him a ton of money for sitting in there and getting his job right. That's a big thing. Jazz, they get paid heaps, especially the more experienced ones. Yeah, I don't know by any knowledge of mine, bro. I've never really looked up into how much referees get paid. But if you got any knowledge of that, Jazzy, please let me know, yeah. Because I honestly don't know how much they get paid. But if they don't get paid enough for me, like maybe that's another reason for it. But maybe that's another reason too, that people just don't know how much they get paid, so they don't really look at it as a viable job. Like, if you're going to run around with a whistle and like obviously there's a lot of pressure to it and that, but I think a lot of people will do it for a good 100, 200K, 300K, 400K, going upwards now. You know what I mean? Yeah, bro, give them a rest if they make errors. Touch judge. Yeah, Richard. Yeah. Honestly, the touch judge they do nothing these days. It frustrates me, man. It's gone away from what it used to be. Mel, Ashley, do you think women only ref NLW, or are you okay with men's? I'm okay with either way. Like, I think that women and men could both referee both games. I don't think that there needs to be a preference either way. Yeah, to be honest, I really don't think there should be a preference either way. Mosca, thoughts on chopping legs tackles being counted as a surrender tackle, allowing the defense to set up again, and again, like, I understand it. Yeah. This one's tough because I feel like if they implement this, and knowing the NRL, they'll implement it in a way that will end up becoming not the way we really want to see it too. I feel like it's really hard to implement. I know it's like as a surrender tackle, like obviously you get a couple more seconds to get back to marker and that, but you don't lose the threat too. Like when you're chopping at the legs is the offload. That's the biggest threat. Like the other threat obviously is quick play ball, 100%, but the offload is the second biggest threat. And it's the reason why players go high first off. When I got taught when I was a kid, it was like, early on, it was like, the classic tackle. And then when you got older, when I was in high school and that, it was change all that. And it was pretty much try to wrap the ball first, no matter what. Like just grab the ball. Like the player can't run without the ball. So just grab onto it. You know what I mean? So I think just the game's gotten so far away from those sort of tackles. There's still a place in the game for it. The rule I don't like at the moment, guys, too, is you send a leg. It's becoming from the leg pull penalty to a leg lift penalty now. Like I've seen players, get lifted in like an MMA or just a double leg and that. Sometimes it's the easiest way to get someone to the ground. Just lift a leg and just off balance them like that. People getting called for leg lifts now. I don't like that rule at all. I really don't. And so that takes away another part of like tackling low. You know what I mean? Like I understand there's the threat of going over horizontal, but if you're going to, penalize the leg lift, like why are you going to go low? I'm going to go high all day if I'm not going to touch the legs at all. You know what I mean? So, T Miller. No way. No way. Thank you so much for the $10, my brother. Bro, do you have any chat to it, man? Like, did you got any questions at all, bro? Please feel free. It's just not popping up right now if there was something there. But, man, like, I appreciate you, man. Like, honestly, you've been incredible. Always been around the channel. And we see you every day. You know what I mean? Like, we see you all the time. So, I appreciate you. But back to you, Boscar. Yeah, like, for me, I just feel like that's such a tough rule to implement and really police it properly. And I think that we'll end up seeing just a muddle up of, surrender tackles. We're going to see slow play to balls that way too. And that I don't think there's a way to do it really, honestly. Like, I don't think I'm smart enough to really figure that out. I've never been against the wrestle too much overall. Like, I think that there's a place for, obviously it funds a lot of like big wrestling gyms and stuff in the world. And I'm a massive fan of jiu-jitsu and stuff. So, if my gym, base training center, my ex-gym and that, if they're getting money from rugby league teams coming through, like all goods and that. But yeah, I think it's just, yeah, it's really tough to really police, bro. That's my only thing there. I love the argument of it. I love the whole thought of getting back to the old school way of tackling and that, but I just don't think there's a way we can police it in a way that's going to make sense to even a new fan out there. You know what I mean? Can you imagine, like, with all the rules that we got now, a new fan coming over and saying, like, now we got surrender tackles at a low tackle, and then you got, like, surrender tackles coming over the top, and then you got, like, so many different rules that you're going to have to tell them in the middle of the game. Like, a lot of time, I think they see the 6 again, and they're like, what is that for? And you got to explain that, and you don't even know, you know what I mean? So sometimes there's a point when we over police the game. I think it's just, yeah, I think there's a little problem in itself there. Tahi, bro, if they get paid heaps, then there should be a fine system for their mistakes. Yeah, 100%. Jazzy, the best referees get paid over 300k, way less for less experienced refs coming up. Yeah, fair bet. 300k. Like, where that sits in the game, like, obviously, like, I think the minimum contract right now for a player is about 200k, 100k. So, yeah, that's actually pretty fair, bro. I didn't know that. T Miller, just a little support, brother. Bro, nah, you're amazing, man. And thank you so much, guys, to everyone that, like, Killer that did it in the last streams and stuff like that. Like, we don't expect for you guys to pay any money in that. Like, this is free content for you guys. Like, come here, just chat and just chill out, kick back and relax. But you's doing that, like, absolutely incredible. Yeah, champion, as you said, Jazzy, champion. All right. Phil Plug, I got a Panthers page on IG and you see your content a bit now. Very underrated, bro. Oh, thank you, my bro. Thank you. I'm not sure about the Panthers page, bro, but I'm not sure have I been on the Panthers page? I hope not, but if you see my content, bro, either way, like, appreciate you, man. Like, hope you enjoy the more that I grow. I still got a lot of way to go, and as I keep saying to everyone, like, I got to envision or where I want to get with, like, YouTube and stuff like that. Like, when I see, for me, the best channels in YouTube for sport is, like, EPL channels. I think that we got a chance to really get there with Wise Up TV, and me and Levon, like, Levon's got the same ideas with me. He's incredible, and he's the main reason that my skills have grown so much over the time. So thank you so much, guys. But yeah, I'll pretty much we'll end off the little topics there, guys. I don't really have anything else that I'll really want to touch on, as in, like, any big topics. But is there anything you guys want me to touch on overall before I move on to a little bit of who's hot, who's not? What do you reckon, guys? Oh, Phil Plug. Yo, appreciate you, my man. Appreciate ya. That's good, bro. That's good. Honestly, man, keep up with the game. Like, yeah, there's a lot of, like, amazing content creators out there at the moment and that, but I still feel like, rugby league content creation is still, young and growing, you know what I mean? And we'll get to a point where it becomes, like, amazing. You know what I mean? I still think it's amazing, but I feel like more of the fan base channels than that, we can definitely grow to a really, really cool level and do something really special for rugby league. So I'm mad excited for the future. And it's so good to see like some of the content creators and all that getting put on for, actual football sites. So like, you got, what's his name? It's with the Warriors, is Jacko or whatever. Yeah, it used to be at YKTR Sport. When I saw he did that, it's like, yo, like there's an opportunity for someone like me to maybe work for the Warriors or work for a team, to help them out. Or, you saw like a lot of other boys get picked up for, teams' content pages and that. Like Surly Sport obviously does a lot of the podcasting for the Warriors and that. Like all these big things, like only happens if you continue to work at it, bro. And yeah, keep on working at it. I appreciate you, man. Good stream. Thank you so much. Richard, 6 again is good, I reckon, but we keep giving them away, which is shit. Yeah, I think the 6 again rule, like as soon as it's been incepted, like, or it's been implemented into rugby league, for incepted, I don't know where that came from, but has brought it back to what we loved about rugby league of like, the biggest versus small, and like the big players will end up losing their fitness during the middle of the game and the little players will come out there and start performing. And you start to see that a lot more now, like the speed and stuff around the ruck at the moment is a big thing. And hopefully that's my thing with the Warriors. That's where I feel like we get most of our damaging work done is through like, tired forwards in behind the ruck and that. I want to get us back to that, you know what I mean? So 6 agains and all that, that's where the game comes from. And I think that's what made the Panthers so strong is they've implemented their game plan around the 6 again call and penalties and stuff like that. And it works to fruition 100%. Tell you, bro, yeah, bro, open market, go for it. Boys go hard. Yeah, 100%, my bro. Dimmy, good to see you. Thank you so much for coming through. Where do you think Ilias will go? Honestly, if I had the choice, if I was Ilias, like, where do I think he'll go? I think he'll go the exact same way that I'm kind of thinking in my head is I think he'll end up going to Super League, and I think it'll be the best thing for his career. Unless, like, I think Braith Anasta is his player manager, and I know Braith will end up doing the best for him, and I think the best for him would be the Super League. I don't want to see him with all the pressure of like, I think the Titans threw their hat in the ring a little bit there too, from what I heard, or I heard obviously a lot of people throwing up the Titans. Like, I don't want to see Ilias go to the Titans and be another one of those halves that is supposed to change the Titans and then fall away like Ash Taylor and even Tanner Boyd now and Toby Sextons and just too much pressure on the kid, especially, when his coach came out and said he was going to be the next best upcoming half for the Rabbitohs or the greatest half that they've had. Like, when they've had Adam Reynolds there, like, the amount of pressure that's been put on him at such a young age and he hasn't been able to develop properly, in my opinion, I feel like the best thing he could do for his career is go to the Super League where there's like basically none media pressure at all and just work on your game and become a better football player and come back when you're a little bit older. As a halfback, you do want to see your halves about that 28, 29, 30. That's where you're seeing in the game at the moment. That's where people are starting to click over and become even better. Like Nathan Cleary is a variable. Isaiah Katoa is having amazing success right now, and I think a lot of that comes from the tutelage of Wayne Bennett, and he's really good at keeping a lot of the media pressure over him, keeps him under wraps. But the best thing for Ilias for me is to go over to England, learn his trade a little bit more, learn how to be a halfback, especially a more mature halfback, because I think that's what his better part of his game is a bit more of the game manager. Learn that a little bit more over in England, come back and just get more money off that way. Like Jackson Hastings sort of done. We've seen a lot of it over the years. I think that'll be the best thing for him. It'll be a little bit of a freshener for him overall. So that's for me. Rikers, need to add a counter on your screen for every time you say 100%. Rikers, I have these couple of things that I keep saying. And honestly, I feel like I want to get better at doing that. But I think also that's just me too. I think you guys understand, I got that, all that. I think it's just where I've grown up and, how the boys talk and how not to be like that, but you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. It's just the way I talk. It's really tough to really get that out of my system. It's kind of go to Texas and America, they got a lot of slang, and, in Australia, we got slang. In New Zealand, you got a lot of slang. I think with mine, sometimes it just, can really carry over when you're doing a lot of this stuff. But I think that's what makes YouTube special too, is you got people like me that talk the way I do sometimes, and it kind of appeals to some people out there, and I hope it does. But if not, I'll work on it. But again, I can't promise anything that my words will change. I'll try my hardest. Dimmy, TYVM. Honestly, bro, I have no clue what that means. Tahi, bro, it's style. It works. Thank you, bro. Appreciate ya. You've always been mad like that, my man. But, yeah. Anyway, guys, we may as well move on to the next part of the show overall. And that is who's hot and who's not in rugby league right now. So, if you actually checked out it's kind of been running off for the stats of last night's show on Wise Up TV, on Wise Up TV, on All You Can Eat Warriors. It's obviously, for me, the hottest team in the competition right now is the Roosters. And really touching on their stats coming into our game on the weekend, because for me, we are actually running very cold at the moment, and I want to see us turn it around a little bit, and we're going to be our cold side at the moment. So, kind of show to everyone out there, I'm not just a full biased Warriors fan. Like, I understand, like, I'm a realist. Like, we are running cold at the moment, and Webby needs to start to turn things around now. There's other teams in competition I could be talking about in the cold. Obviously, the Tigers have been on a little bit of a losing streak. The Manly Seagulls need to figure out parts in their game. They're not cold, but you know what I mean? There's a couple other teams like the Rabbitohs I could put in there every week at the moment. But for now, at the moment, the hot is the Sydney Roosters, man. The Sydney Roosters are incredible at the moment. Comparatively to all other teams in the competition, the Sharkies are definitely up there. If you've seen my last week's around the league, you definitely saw the stats I've been throwing up with the Sharkies. They've been in form. I feel like the Sharkies and the Melbourne Storm, I keep saying it at the moment, but that's going to be a big matchup this weekend. I do feel like the Melbourne Storm are due a loss. I feel like the Sharkies are due a loss sometime soon too. So really, it's whoever gets over the top of them. I'm going to we'll touch on it a little bit later on, but I'm looking at the Sharkies going, I think they can do this one, and that would be amazing for their confidence this year. But looking at the Roosters, like, their rolling average in their 3-game right now, they're actually scoring. So this is over 3 games, guys. It's not their overall season average, but their overall score these last 3 games, they've been averaging 37.3 points per game. Like, that is mental. I'm pretty sure last week, the Sharkies, they were at like 38s or something like that, which was really, really hot. The Roosters came off the 60-point game, drumming over the Dragons, and then coming back and putting 40 on the Broncos, who everyone obviously has as a massive threat. And it really showed a lot of maybe the Broncos' weaknesses in that, but also just showed when the Roosters put together how classy of a team they are, and how everyone's always thought they were around that top 4 range. But the biggest thing with the Roosters is their consistency, and to do it multiple times, you know what I mean? And now at the moment, they're on a bit of a win streak. They need to continue to show this to really put them out, the names up there, and everyone really get behind the Roosters, even though personally, probably my least favorite team in the competition, but it's only due to how good they actually are and how good they recruit. And it's just a team you love to hate. That's really what it is. But defensively, guys, they are conceding only 18 points per game at the moment conceding. So that's not actually incredible. Like the Penrith Panthers at the moment, not at the moment, but they were conceding like 14s. We started the season only conceding about 14 points per game. So it could definitely get lower. So they're definitely still conceding points in that, which actually our overall average is 18.3 this season. So they're actually averaging around that. Their actual average right now for overall season is 18.1. So their defense has been the same throughout this whole season at the moment, judging by this 3-game average. Their attack before, their overall average this season is 28.7. They've actually fired up that to 37.3. So they were a good attacking team before. They've become an incredible attacking team. And I think it's a lot of the threats that have come back into the lineups here. And especially coming into this weekend, this is probably the most full strength lineup the Roosters have had this season. And coming up against our boys that are still dealing with the injuries they have during mid-game. We're just changing things left, right, and center. We haven't got like a full cohesive unit of like players that have been stick there and been multiple games over it. You know what I mean? Like, had Capewell in and out. We've had Tamade Martin out when start of the season Metcalf was in, and we had Chanel there. We had Jazzy in and out. We had Bunty in and out. Like, we're yet to get back to where we want to be full strength. The Roosters are full strength right now. Continuing on with their attack too, guys, 6.3 tries per game with a 5-game average of their usual average is 5 per game. They're actually, they're over that at the moment, 6.3 tries per game, which is mental again. And they concede about 3 tries per game, which is their normal, which is about 3 tries per game. So, yeah, we definitely need to watch out this weekend. They're a team running really, really hot, but that's why I also am really excited for this one. Because if we do end up pulling something out here or even defending them really, really well and make this a real grind fest, I think that will give us a lot of confidence to carry on this season and to try and turn our season around a little bit. As I did the reaction to Webby's little interview on SENZ. Again, guys, I'm going to keep plugging it. Go check it out when I do drop it. It's going to be, I'm going to mostly say probably tomorrow afternoon, especially how late it's getting right now. And I've got an early start of work tomorrow. But yeah, Webby did say a couple of things that really perked me up a little bit. And I'm like, I just want to see it now. That's the only thing. But he did also say that maybe we need to look at varied attack. And he didn't want to touch on too much before the Roosters game, which would make me say, like, maybe there's something going on there. And we do remember the Roosters game from last year too, guys, that Tamade Martin was actually playing in that game. That was when Tamade was in form. I'm pretty sure that was the game where Tamade actually broke his leg. I'm pretty sure. If I'm remembering it wrong, please let me know in the chat down below. But in that game, you do remember, we were actually attacking both sides of the ruck. Our left side was humming. We had that play that Levon touched on last stream, where we went outside, inside, Wade Egan crashed over. We had a lot of like really good parts in our attack in that game too. So maybe there's a moment we can come back to that. If we want to look at like storylines, guys, like we've done it over the Roosters before. We didn't get the win that weekend. I'm pretty sure we didn't get the win. But this time we get to undo that wrong, but also like see if we can fire against a team like the Roosters at the moment. It wouldn't surprise me right now that we end up, you know, doing something here against a really good team and not be complacent and come into this matchup and really give them the respect that they're due. So that's my thoughts overall. So they are definitely the hottest team in the competition right now, in my opinion, and hopefully we can really get over the top of them, guys. So throw it to you guys. Who are your hottest team in the competition right now? There's definitely a lot of other arguments out there. Obviously, the Sharkies have been on a 4-5. Well, they haven't lost the game in how long? They've been incredible. The Melbourne Storm are another one. It just feels like Melbourne just seem to find a way to get a win. Where I feel like the Sharkies are just belting down on teams at the moment, but they're definitely teams that are not the top end of the whole thing about the Sharkies, not beating the best teams in the competition. They got a chance to do that this weekend. But I think the Roosters just right now, they're just in complete form. Tony W, we have to mix it up and play through the middle. Yeah, 100%. 100%. That's definitely where our key to is our attack. And I think it's been shown multiple times this season. We just need to do it with a whole lot of energy and conviction. Tahi, bro, we need that. Saw Levon short on nights covering that right side. It was really good. Yeah, Levon does incredible work with our video work, man. It's amazing, and it kind of like it shows like what we've been saying. You know what I mean? Like for me, what I've been saying is like we're not trusting in our edge back rollers and really having them as a pivotal point to really set up some things. Like the one thing that I love about the Sharkies attack, and I used to love so much more in years past, is the way Nico runs. He'll end up running tramline sets. So he'll end up getting a lot of, even their front rowers would get out on tram lines and they'll run like they'll go a 2-pass shift, hit an edge back rower, 2-pass shift, hit an edge back rower. But what that does is most of the time they want to pinch on like Brinton a quarter. And what that does is opens up an open side shift. They want to go towards Ronaldo Mulatalo. They can strip a team apart on that left side. Or what Nico used to love doing is a late short side play off that Britton Okora short ball. The quick play ball happens. He goes short side and they number up on that side. I feel like that sort of play would suit us more. And we saw it last year a lot. Obviously having Murata Nikore, Joshi Curran, a lot of really good line runners there. I believe, Jacko Ford's a really good line runner. I think it's just got to take time for Shawnee to build a connection with him. I was a bit more promising on Capewell. I was hoping that he could be that guy more so as like a more variable line runner, but I think that we need maybe someone a bigger body and would actually hold up a defense a little bit more if we're going to run that right side attack. But also I think there's a little inclining at the moment that maybe we're going to really try to push it on the left side and really try to do something there. So yeah, we'll touch on that more so on the reaction video tomorrow. Richard, the Roosters, 100%, bro. We're all on the same boat there. All right, guys. So we're coming over to some people's probably favorite part of the show, I would say. Last week I would say that we didn't hit crazily on Punters Paradise, but I think it's about time that we go on to Punters Paradise. So overall, this weekend, my punter's paradise. So basically, I'm going to go through my tips for the weekend, guys, and then I'm going to run through my value bets for the weekends overall. So moving on to the games of the weekend, we got the Dolphins versus Seagulls at Suncorp Stadium. This one was actually pretty 50-50 for me, more so like the Dolphins at Suncorp. I know the Dolphins get a couple of injury key players back. One, Herbie Farnworth is a big one there. Obviously, they lost Tessie New last week. He just fills in that spot amazingly for them. But then you think of the Seagulls and their attacking potential is incredible and they get to be put on a dry track. I think this one is tough because like the Manly Seagulls have proven now that they can fall off the pace late on in the game. They allow teams back in the game. The Raiders pinched them late in that last one. And the Seagulls, we need to figure out something about that. I think we've seen it, obviously, when we played the Seagulls and that as well. So the Dolphins can definitely do that, and the Dolphins are known to do that. So that's what's stopping me maybe from tipping the way I'm going to do. But I think the safer... Oh, it's just tough. I'm going to go Manly Seagulls in this one overall because I think Manly have the attacking threat overall. But yeah, I'm really, really excited to see this game because I do think like at $2.30, if you guys want to go head to head, like the Dolphins wouldn't be a bad play at all, especially the way Manly get out to leads and then they fall away in the matchup. We've seen the Dolphins, as I keep saying, last year they did it to the Titans. They broke the Titans' heart a couple of times from behind. So they seem to be that sort of team. Killer Mazzilla. Who is Dolphins replacement fullback for Hamisa at the moment? He is Trey Fuller. I'm pretty sure it's still Trey. Yep, it's still Trey Fuller. So Trey has been playing Q Cup for a while now, and he's always had a ton of potential. I've never really fully understood why he couldn't get a full top 30 spot in years past. He's always like, he gives you off that vibe of, I wouldn't say Ben Barber, because I felt like Ben Barber when he was in form, he was just a different level of that. But like a Marvin Barber, like Ben Barber's brother, very similar type of player, bounces around really well and that. But he's definitely, he's a definite threat from fullback, and it's good to see him grow in that position. But yeah, I'm going to tip the Manly Seagulls there, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Dolphins get over the top there. So guys, if you got a little bit of value, if you do bet or anything like that, 2.13 is not too bad in my opinion for the Dolphins there. That can win from behind at Suncorp. It's going to be a big game there. Next game on your Friday, we got the Panthers versus the Doggies. This one's a big match. Obviously, it's at Bluebet Stadium in Penrith. That would mostly say to everyone that's maybe a 13-pluser here for the Penrith Panthers on the Doggies. But I would sway back to the Doggies have actually been really, really solid this year. There was a couple of stats I threw up last couple of weeks, but I'm not sure if it's the same because I need to deep dive into it again. But the Doggies were actually the best side in the competition for limiting run meters. And that's a big thing, especially coming up against the Panthers and stuff like that. Defensively, the Doggies have been really, really good this year. But they're coming up against a team that can definitely pick apart a team. And that's a big thing to really worry about there. But if you believe the Doggies, I don't think the Doggies will end up getting up here, but at $5.50 there. But if you're going to tip this, guys, I'm going to tip the Panthers. But we might touch on the Doggies a little bit later on because there's a little bit of value somewhere around about there. I wouldn't say a win, but there's a little bit of value there overall. But yeah, Penrith Panthers should get it done in Penrith there. Next up, we got the Broncos versus the Parramatta Eels. What makes this more of a 50-50? Well, I wouldn't say 50-50, but Parramatta playing at CommBank Stadium, I think always helps the Parramatta Eels. They've built that into some sort of fortress. They always get energy at CommBank Stadium. I always feel like they play their best football at CommBank Stadium. But they're coming up against the Broncos team that got slapped around last week. Obviously, they are missing Adam Reynolds and that. But they still got around like their same forward pack that they've got. Joshy Rogers that comes into that 7 role. He is more of a 6 for me. So it'd be interesting to see if Ezra Mam has more of a control of the game here and shows more of a half sort of look for Ezra Mam. That would be really interesting. But looking at like Ethan Sanders and Dylan Brown, I thought they worked really well together in the Manly game last week. I thought Ethan Sanders actually stood up really, really nicely for a young half. But coming up against the Broncos, definitely a big test. Really, if you look at it on paper, like Parramatta have the team that could hold up with the Brisbane Broncos. Oh yeah, Tahi, yeah, Cleary back, yeah, with the Panthers, yeah, Cleary is back at the moment. Who knows if he has a late withdrawal like he did again last week. But anyway, back to Parramatta. On paper, like you look at their forward pack, they could definitely try to mess with like the Broncos forward pack overall, like Campbell Gillard, Bolo, Lane, Madison, Hopgood, like that starting lineup there. I would say is like not, I'd say Haas definitely is a league above. I'd say, you know, Paddy Carrigan's definitely, you know, maybe just a league above, but I love Jermaine Hopgood. Everything else for me is pretty 50-50. Like Ricky and Madison, like Madison defensively is really strong, and that's what I love about Ricky's game. Beercorder is probably got more potential at the moment than a Sean Lane. Sean Lane's a bit more laboured this year. Looking at the front rows here, Regan Campbell-Gillard for me has it over Jensen, but I think Jensen's been a really good workhorse this year. And then Junior Paulo and Payne Haas, that matchup's pretty. I'd sway the way of Payne Haas, but you know what I mean. Like overall, I think they're going to miss a lot with no Guffo though, and that's what makes me think I'm going to tip the Broncos there, guys. I'm going to sway the way of the Broncos in this matchup here. More so, Gutho I think is going to be a really big out, and I think a lot of people don't really touch on how good Gutho is out back and like what he does for the Parramatta Eels and just his work rate in general. So yeah, I'm going to go the way of the Broncos there. Saturday, to start your Super Saturday, we got the West Tigers and the Newcastle Knights. So touching on the West Tigers, who have been battling with a little bit of form lately and also drop Aiden Caesar from this matchup due to suspension, I'm pretty sure, for that hip drop sort of tackle. That wasn't a hip drop tackle, but was a hip drop tackle. But, you know, I don't know really what you want to call from that. But I feel like the Tigers have the team to really do something against the Knights here. I felt like the Knights are waiting for a loss as well. Like, I felt like they weren't that impressive against us in the week. I thought they were good, but I don't think they were like incredible. I felt the same of them last week against the Dolphins. I just didn't think the Dolphins really like got over the top of them in any way too. So I feel like that's a positive, I guess, if you want to take for Newcastle. But I would say that they're waiting for someone to really get over the top of them at 1-12 sort of look. And I think the Tigers have the ability to do that. But for me, I love Bud Sullivan to death, but it seems like he just can't build a combination in this Tigers outfit. Aiden Caesar might be a little bit more of an out than what people are probably giving him credit for, and having the Knights going, keeping that halves pairing of Hastings, Gamble, Brayley at 9, and that young Armstrong out back. I'm going to just sway the way at Newcastle. It is at Tamworth too, guys, and the West Tigers actually play some good footy at Tamworth, so maybe the Tigers will get up. If you want to go them head-to-head, $2.34. But I'm going to tip the Newcastle Knights in this one in a 1-12 contest again. I think they're just going to grit it out and they'll just find a way. So, you know, take that a positive there. Tahi, bro, weather in New South Wales. Yeah, that's a lot of the rumour too. I probably should touch on that a little bit more. But yeah, 100%. That would probably end up being a big key for this matchup as well. The Tigers, if they want to, attacking-wise, they've been a bit hay going too. But I feel like it's going to be a very grindy affair. And I think Newcastle have started to win in those grindy affairs. And also good to see Tyson Frizzell back in the lineup as well. I think that's a really big in for the Newcastle Knights and have been a big out for the weeks that he's been out for. Moving on next, I'm sure Nanad's still in this chat. If you aren't, my man, I am disappointed in you. But we got the Dragons versus the Rabbitohs. Always a very good matchup to watch. Obviously, both rivals and all that, you know. Really, really excited for this matchup at Netstrata Jubilee. I'm more scared of the Dragons at Wynn Stadium. I don't know what it is about Netstrata or anything like that, but I feel like it's tough to tip the Rabbitohs on this one for me. Like, just their form coming into it. They've definitely got a lot of big key ins. Like, Latrell coming back is a big one for me, whatever your view is for him. I love Dion Tirupa. He's a really, really talented footballer. If you actually watch a lot of tape on him, bro, he reminds you like so much of Cody Walker. And I don't know whether that's just like Cody Walker, you know, having him under his wing. I'm really excited to see him in that 7 role. I think he's more of a 6. He's more of a running sort of player than he is like a running playmaker, than he is like a kicker, you know, that sort of thing, like an actual game general. But really curious on that. Everything else, I think, obviously, I hope Jai Arrow gets a bit more of a minutes through the middle there, playing on an edge, unless they run Tallis Duncan through the middle. I don't like Harvili in that 13. I like Harvili maybe more as a bench play. I don't really like him at hooker either. Like, I know a lot of people like kind of rather him at hooker, but I like him more of a bench middle. So maybe Tallis Duncan could get a play there in the lock. But looking at this Dragons team, and obviously, you know, I think Fleno can get him up for this matchup. And if there's any time for them to get over the top of the Rabbits again, it would be this weekend. Latrell's going to be a hard one there, but I'm going to sway away the Dragons in this matchup, guys. So $2.58 is not too bad for the Rabbits, especially with Latrell in there. You don't really know what Latrell can come up with at the moment. So he can definitely throw you diamonds. He can definitely throw you rocks. So definitely play the game there. They've got the ability to win, but I think the Dragons have just been shown like they got more of their full strength side out there. And also, like, they've had more consistency, I guess, than the Rabbitohs this season. That's pretty much a fact. So, yeah, I'm going to go to Dragons there. Last game on your Saturday, we got the Storm versus the Sharkies. And in this one, for me, I'm going to sway the way the Sharkies. As I said before, I think that Jerome Hughes is going to be a massive out for the Storm. I love Sua Fa'alongo. I think he's going to be incredible, Fa'alongo. I'm really, really excited for him. But I think the Sharkies are a fairly unchanged squad. I still don't really rate Atkinson like crazy highly as a 6, but he's been doing a job lately. Tyron Wishart at a 7. Every time I see Tyron Wishart at a 7 for the Melbourne Storm, I just go, yeah, I don't know how they're going to really go there. Munster should pick up a little bit of the slack, but he's not really a 7. Like, he's not a 7 that play makes like that. He usually loves to play off the back of things because he's a very free-flowing type player. When I look at everything else, like Harry Grant will be incredible in this game, so maybe that will help him there. But from top to bottom, the Sharkies have got a strong team here, and I'll touch on them a little bit later on for value. So in this game, head-to-head, I'm going to go to Sharkies over Melbourne in Melbourne, and that sounds crazy to say, but I think the Sharkies got a big opportunity now to do that. If they don't do that, maybe there's a bit more argument again to the Sharkies becoming back to that team that always struggles with top competition. So really interesting play there. Then we got the biggest game of the weekend, guys. The Sydney Roosters versus the Warriors. You know me, guys. Like, I'm just going to... I'll tip the boys. Always going to tip the boys because I want to back the boys in that. If you're going to go with your head, like, you know, obviously the Roosters have been in better form coming into this game. Going through the lineups and that, as we did last night with the combined 17, I think that the Roosters team is better at the moment. But this is a game for our boys to step up and show that we are better than what, you know, our form has been lately. And we all know that. It's just the boys need to show us that, you know what I mean? So $3.73. I've always been a very much of a hoodoo type guy and all that sort of stuff. Like, I don't like betting on the boys. I don't like all that sort of stuff. If I feel like that people are riding us maybe a little bit too much, I get worried into games. It's always been a thing with me. I'm sure it's with every sort of fan coming into a football game too, so it's not just me, but I'm going to tip the boys though. Always got to tip the boys there, but the Roosters at Sydney are going to be a very, very tough test overall. Killamazilla, bro, my roof is coming off my house if we scoop this win against... I'm excited, man. I'm excited. But yeah, the heart tip is going to go to the Warriors, guys, and I can't sway away from that. But again, guys, I would have to say, like, the Roosters have got all the ability and all that to win this game, but it's up to our boys to really come in and show something in this one, and I'm really, really excited to see our boys go up against one of the better teams in the competition form-wise right now. And then the last game of the weekend, guys, before we go through my value bets and end up the stream here, we got the Titans versus the Cowboys. For me right now, this is actually a very 50-50 game. And I know it sounds crazy because the Cowboys have sort of found some sort of form, you know, from that Panthers game. But again, like the Cowboys, you just don't know what you're going to get from them. They're so up and down. Where at least you could say with the Titans, they've gradually builded like this. And like, you know, I thought they had a really decent effort last week against the Melbourne Storm to come from behind the way they did. They started horrendously, which was like, oh, here we go. Like the Titans have gone back to what they used to be. But they've actually, I felt like the one key thing that you've noticed from the Titans, what I keyed on about the Titans, where you see Desi starting to have some handprints there, is their wrestle. And I think the biggest time that you definitely keyed in on that was the Raiders game and Ricky coming out in the press conferences saying like, you boys are coaching them right down there, like you're doing all the little tactics and stuff like that. But if you actually watch the game, like, yeah, 100%. And then you watch them against us. I think that was the main thing that a lot of people probably didn't touch on is like how the Titans controlled the ruck in that game. And they really wrestled us really well there. Like, I felt like our ruck speed was so slow in that game. And it frustrated me because I wanted to get 60-game calls and like penalties and that. But like, again, like that just shows a really, really strong unit. And it's good to see that Desi's having fingerprints there. The only thing that's making me sway now, and I'm going to tip the Cowboys here, is more so maybe more of the talk around Dave Fifita around the club. And I know they're professional footballers, but I do feel like there's a little bit more like if there's going to be something like that, over a cloud over the club right now, of probably their best player at the club. Also, they're running Chrissy Randall at 6 at the moment. Because obviously Tanner Boyd's out. That's an interesting play. Coming off who they got in reserves. They haven't got anyone that's going to fill in that 6 role either. So that's a really interesting play there. Unless they could put Keeney at fullback and put Brimo at 6. But I think a lot of Titans fans are sick of seeing Brimo go to different positions. So, and also shout out to Viliami Valia at the Cowboys. I want to see him continue to grow from his performance last week. And also just, really get some consistency in himself. And I would love to see him, if he gets to his potential, like we all know he's got such a high ceiling, that kid. If he gets to his potential, come back to the Warriors, brother, and become one of the great centers as well. Become a part of our center depth that we got going on at the moment. So, but yeah, shout out to the Cowboys. I'm gonna go to Cowboys in this one, but I can see this being very more of a 50-50 game. If you're gonna go for value too, guys, touching on a little bit of my betting and that, the Titans at $2.27 is not too bad for the Gold Coast Titans at Gold Coast. Against, the Cowboys are very up and down, and they can just lose a game. But coming off a loss last week, I'm sure they want to come into this one and really try to right wrongs and get over the top of these Titans here. So touching on you guys before I jump into my value bets of the weekend. So Jazzy, I just want to see a solid all-round performance without 100%. Yeah, I agree there. Tony W, if Barnett doesn't give schoolboy pens away in the first 15 minutes, I don't want to, Barnett's been one of our best players this season, bro. Like, I don't want to, he's been incredible. That was one moment in the game. And usually, in rugby league, a lot of players, they test the referees early on in the game. I think we did that too much that game. We try to find out how much time we can lay in the ruck and that for, and end up being not that long. And the boys got penned for it multiple times. So I don't think I'd just put that on Mitch Barnett. I think that was a team collective problem overall. And So moving on to my value bets this weekend, guys. So obviously last week we weren't able to hit on both my bets I gave to you guys due to a couple of late withdrawals from a couple of players that we had, but hopefully you got your money back from those so you can play it this weekend, because I'm hoping one of these will get up for you guys and you can jump in the chat and really say thank you to Ash, even though you probably had the same sort of thoughts as me. But my first value bet of the weekend, I'm actually looking at the Sharks game against the Melbourne Storm. I think there is value there in the Sharkies. I think, the Sharkies being at $2.10, I do wish it was probably a little bit further out, maybe at a $2.50 range and stuff like that. Them traveling to Melbourne and that kind of, $2.10 is starting to get to that short range. If they start evening out, I'd get off the Sharkies. I would say that leave it there. But at $2.10, doubling your money there, I see more so times than not at the moment with the team that the Storm are running out with. I think Farlongo is going to be incredible, but everything else in that Storm team worries me a little bit, like the halves especially. I think the Sharks can go head-to-head. So we're going Sharks head-to-head. Britton Acorda over for a try scorer. I just love him. He's always at good odds. I think it was at $4 odds for me. I got him on this one, so definitely chuck him in there. And Sione Katoa for a try scorer in that corner as well. I think, from last week, from memory, I think the Titans had a lot of success from that right side because Philip Sammy got over a couple of times. I think that's the way more so I swayed there. I think he's at a good $2 or something like that at Sione Katoa. So altogether, Sharks head-to-head, Britton Acorda and Sione Katoa will get you about $13. I think that's pretty good value for that. Again, I would have loved to see maybe the Sharkies push out to about $2.50 before maybe fully getting on this, but I think that still adds out as a head-to-head bet overall. I think that's a really good one there. Hazleton, yeah, I love Hazleton. I just can't... Hazleton's starting to get to really short odds at the moment, so it's starting to lose that value for me. It's sort of like Adam Fanor-Blake, you know what I mean? It's so good to get on ads because he scores somewhat consistently. But again, you don't want to rely on front row forwards, and especially when they get into that center back rower range of try scoring, I think he's at $4, $3.50 or something like that. Yeah, you can't hit a front row on that, man. Wait till they bump out to about 5, 6, something like that, getting them upwards on that. Another good one I used to go on all the time for the Raiders. Every so often I'll put on Enrique Gula. You get him always for that $8 to $10 to $11 range. He always used to hit on me for those. So my first value bet, guys, Sharks head-to-head, Britton Acorda, Sione Katoa, $13 odds for that one. My last one before we end off this stream, guys, I am currently looking at that Panthers Doggies game. And before I say this, guys, obviously it's the Penrith Panthers. Like, this is a bit more of a maybe a long shot a little bit here, but I do believe the Doggies have grown a lot, and I think defensively they're going to be up for this, especially like Stephen Crichton going up against the Panthers. I still believe the Panthers are going to win this. I tip that way, but I do believe the Doggies can hold them within the line. So the line at the moment is at 14 points, 14.5 points. I think the Doggies haven't had a big blowout score this year really go out too well. I think the Manly game at the start of the season was the only one, even then. I think the Doggies can hold that. And coming off the Panthers the last couple of weeks, I know Cleary's back in that, but you know, seeing them against the Cowboys and being held to a 1-12 contest, I do believe there's some play there for the Doggies, even though it's at the Panthers' home. So I'm going to go to Doggies plus 14.5 because I think they can really hold it in there, hopefully. Then Liam Martin to score for the Panthers, just to give it back to Penrith, because I do believe Penrith will end up finding their way here. And also, I think statistically the left side seems to be the play against the Doggies, right? But the right side of the Doggies is the left side defensively of Gitgal, and I'm pretty sure that is Matty Burton. They always make some really drastic defensive errors for me at times. I could see Britt Nakora getting shored up from a Nathan Cleary short ball. So I'm looking there. I think Liam Martin's like really good odds, like $5-6. So that boosted up a little bit. And then to end it off there, I got the Fox to add in there because I do believe the Doggies will end up performing here. And if I do think that, I think the Penrith Panthers, I know that Tungo's out, but Tungo has defensive lapses in him. Paul Alamonte's been good for the Panthers and all that, but I still believe that I'm pretty sure it'll be Alamonte and Taruva on that side. I think that's a young combination. I think that Adokar can get stripped on that edge, and I believe that's the best attacking edge for the Doggies. They got so much speed running down that side. They got Birdo to kick out, who's got that presence, that size with speed to him. They can put it out to Bronson Sherry, that always seems to get on the outside of his center. He does that so well, and that just frees up the Fox so well because that winger's got to turn in or, allow Sherry to go through, and then, he'll pass it off to Adokar. So I'm going to go Doggies plus 14.5 with the line. Liam Martin and the Fox to score a try, and that is currently at about $18 odds, and I think that's some really good value there. I think the only thing you got to really be massively worried about is the Panthers if they end up blowing it out really late, because I think the Doggies can hold it with them for the first 50-60. Really, what happens after that, I'm hoping the Doggies just get a ton of confidence and just continue to keep plowing along. But it's a bit more of a hope, and that's why it's a bit more of a value bet there for you guys. $17, $18 there. I think that's some really good chips there for you guys out there. But hope you guys enjoyed the second episode of Around the League with Ash. Again, I'm not fully stuck with that name, but I definitely will continue to grow on it. But been really, really happy with like how things have started to turn out. All you guys have been turning out, and been amazing. Like, shout out to the super chat too, guys. T Miller, amazing, $10. Like, you're incredible. And also, I hope you guys are enjoying your week. Do keep an eye out for Wise Up TV for my reaction video to Webby's interview on SENZ with Sammy Hewitt and Anthony Gelling. Amazing little bit of content there that I'm going to be dropping tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to definitely try to drop it tomorrow afternoon. But I appreciate all you guys. Hopefully these bets get out to you this weekend. Hopefully there's no people that pull out of those teams here that are going to screw up your bets again. But if they do, we're going to run it back again next week. And maybe next week I'll do my tips of like maybe who I've tipped right or wrong, which I kind of didn't go through this week, and I'll get back to that next week anyway. So hope you guys enjoy the weekend and all that. Keep your eye out for Wise Up TV, guys, as I said before. Take it easy. Happy Mother's Day to all your mums out there as well on Sunday. Thank you so much, guys. Take it easy. Peace out.